everybody. This is your Kid Stuff See and Read video book. Before we begin your first Rainbow Brite read-along story, Gloom over Rainbow Land, you are going to see and learn some words that will help you read and understand what is happening in the story. Here's your first word, concoction. A concoction is a mixture of many things, like putting many kinds of vegetables and meat in a stew, or many kinds of chemicals to make a special medicine. Next is laboratory. A laboratory is a room in which doctors or scientists do their tests or experiments. Your next word is smog. Smog is a dark, heavy fog filled with dirty smoke from a city's factories. Your last word is tantrum. If you've ever seen a child have a tantrum, you know it's a screaming, stamping outburst of a bad temper. Now that you know all these words, you're ready to begin your first Rainbow Brite story by reading along with the words at the bottom of the screen. Here we go with Gloom over Rainbow Land. As the sun rose over Rainbow Land, all the colors glowed gloriously, and the dewdrops on the grass sparkled like millions of tiny diamonds. But even as the flowers turned their eager little faces to the sun, the clouds and smog over the pits seemed to grow darker and darker. A bright new day meant nothing at all to Murky Dismal. It was always dark over the pits, which was just fine with him. Murky Dismal always did his best mean thinking when it was gloomy, and today was no exception.
Lurky!
Murky Dismal snarled as he blended a new nasty concoction in his laboratory.
Lurky, get your hog down to Rainbow Land. Find out what those brats have cooking for today, and come right back.
Yeah, boss,
Said Lurky.
I mean now.
Growled Murky Dismal.
Okay, I'm going.
Mumbled Lurky as he slowly turned to go.
Quick!
Screamed Murky Dismal in a tantrum.
Quick, quick, quick!
Lurky stumbled out of the entrance to the pits and started to gallop down the hill toward Rainbow Land, picking up speed as he went. But clumsy as usual, the big galoot tripped and fell and started to roll. Down the hill he went head over heels, faster and faster, leaving his little gray gloom cloud far behind. Lurky finally came to a stop smack in the middle of the annual Rainbow Land picnic at Prism Pond. He just lay there in the middle of all the potato salad and coleslaw, huffing and puffing in a huddled heap. Suddenly, Lurky felt a tiny, gentle hand patting his aching head. He heard a sweet little voice gurgling and cooing and making soothing sounds.
Ooh, all right? Ooh, all right?
Which was Baby Brite's way of asking, "Are you all right?" Just then, Puppy Brite came sniffing around. Wagging his tail, Puppy yipped and yapped until the color kids and the sprites stopped what they were doing and came over to see what all the racket was about. Red Butler, whose turn it was to look after Baby Brite, was the first to recognize Lurky.
Look, it's Lurky. This could mean a lot of trouble.
Indigo was worried.
What are we gonna do? We've got to tell Rainbow Brite,
insisted Canary Yellow.
You're right, Canary.
Buddy Blue agreed, but Patty O'Green saw one problem.
What should we do about Lurky? We can't just leave him here. Maybe he's hurt.
Shy Violet looked around.
I don't see Lurky's gloom cloud anywhere. That means we're safe from Murky Dismal for a while. I say we all go to the Color Castle right now and take Lurky with us.
The color kids and the sprites agreed, and they set off to see Rainbow Brite, with Baby Brite and Puppy Brite bringing up the rear, and Lurky trotting after them like a big, hairy hound dog. Rainbow Brite had been working in her garden in front of the Color Castle when her friends arrived. She wasn't at all concerned when the color kids told her about Lurky, and she explained.
He's not so bad, really. When Murky Dismal isn't around, Lurky is pretty nice. Not too bright, but nice.
Twink smiled and told Rainbow Brite,
You always find something good to say about a person. But I'm afraid of what Murky Dismal will do when he finds out that Lurky is here in Rainbow Land.
You've got a point there, Twink.
Rainbow Brite said to her favorite sprite.
We'll have to send Lurky back to the pits.
But without the little gray gloom cloud over his head to keep him under Murky Dismal's control and unhappy, Lurky had fallen under the happy spell of Rainbow Land's bright colors. The sprites were so cheerful, Puppy Brite was so frisky and playful, and Baby Brite had truly found a special spot in Lurky's heart. Lurky dropped to his knees and cried,
I don't want to go back to the pits. Please don't make me. Please, please.
Rainbow Brite was very soft-hearted, and with a sigh, she answered,
Well, maybe you can stay for a little while.
Then Lurky really started to feel happy, and he didn't feel happy very often. That could only happen when the gloom cloud wasn't around. To show how happy he was not to feel unhappy, Lurky decided to make himself useful. He rescued mischievous Puppy Brite from the ledge around the dome of the color castle. He carried a huge melon in from the melon patch for Patio Green, and he brought Baby Brite's big striped balloon down from the top of a tree. By the end of the day, everyone in Rainbow Land was glad to have Lurky around. But by the end of the day at the pits, Murky Dismal wasn't glad about anything. He was angry as he grumbled.
Where is that stupid Lurky? I told him to come right back from Rainbow Land. That big oaf doesn't know how to listen. He doesn't pay attention to a thing I say.
As he stood at the entrance to the pits, Murky Dismal looked down the hill toward Rainbow Land. Murky Dismal mumbled to himself as he tried to spot his assistant coming up the hill, but there was no sign of Lurky. All Murky Dismal could see was a little gray cloud hanging over the hill halfway down.
There's nothing out there but a little gray cloud,
said Murky Dismal.
A little gray cloud?
He repeated, doing a double take.
Lurky got away from under the little gray gloom cloud. No wonder he didn't come back. He's probably happy as a clam in Rainbow Land. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Murky Dismal was so angry that he had another honest-to-goodness tantrum. He threw himself down on the ground and pounded his fists and kicked his feet, and all the time he kept screaming,
A little gray gloom cloud. Ooh, 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 a little gray gloom cloud.
When he was all screamed out, Murky Dismal stood up and shook his head clear.
I'll just have to do something about that.
He growled. Then he headed for his laboratory inside the pits. Once inside the laboratory, Murky Dismal began to feel more like his usual mean self. Soon he was busy concocting clouds of gloom that went sailing out of the pits and down the hill toward Rainbow Land.
I'll show that Lurky.
Murky Dismal muttered while he worked.
I'll show that Rainbow Brat and her Goody Two-Shoes gang that Murky Dismal isn't anyone to fool around with.
By the next morning, the gloom clouds were so thick over Rainbow Land that the sun couldn't shine through. It stayed almost as dark as night. It was so dark that all the bright colors seemed to fade away to gray. Rainbow Brite looked up at the sky full of clouds and cried,
Oh no! Those gloomy clouds are heading this way from the pits. Murky Dismal is covering Rainbow Land with gloom.
Shy Violet nodded and said,
He's very clever.
Clever?
shouted the colored kids, puzzled.
Yes, clever.
Said Shy Violet, who was very good at figuring out things.
Murky Dismal knows he can't control Lurky unless there's a gloom cloud around to keep him unhappy. Murky Dismal must have figured out that Lurky is here in Rainbow Land. But he doesn't know exactly where. So, to play it safe and be sure that he gets to Lurky, Murky Dismal put all of Rainbow Land under a gray gloom cloud.
For the first time ever, everyone in Rainbow Land was unhappy. Even Canary Yellow, who was always sunny and cheerful. But the most unhappy one of all was Lurky, who moaned and groaned.
Ooh, it's all my fault. Ooh, it's all my fault.
Lurky looked at all his newfound friends and saw the gloom over Rainbow Land. He felt sad, but not only because he was back to his own gloomy self. There was another reason.
My mind is made up.
Lurky told Rainbow Brite and the entire Rainbow Land family.
I'm going back to the pits.
Oh, no!
Everyone protested,
Don't go!
but Lurky's mind was made up.
I have to go. That's the only way Murky Dismal will let the sun shine on Rainbow Land again. That's the only way your colors will be bright again.
Then, looking very heavy-hearted, Lurky started to walk slowly up the hill toward the pits. As he walked, the thick gray gloom clouds seemed to follow after him. Soon the sun shone brightly on Rainbow Land once again. All the colors glowed gloriously, and the dewdrops on the grass sparkled like a million tiny diamonds.
I hate to see Lurky go.
Said Rainbow Brite with a sigh.
Me too.
Cooed Baby Bright. Barked Puppy Bright, wagging his tail.
We sort of got used to having the big lunk around.
Said Red Butler. And Buddy Blue agreed.
Yeah, he wasn't so bad after all.
I'm going to miss him.
Cried Indigo.
He did what he had to do,
Said Shy Violet.
and he did it for a good reason.
What do you mean?
Asked Lala Orange.
I know what Shy Violet means.
Said Rainbow Brite to her colorful family.
Lurky showed how much he loves us by going back to the pits and letting the sun shine on Rainbow Land again.
Did you enjoy that Rainbow Brite story? Good. And were you able to read your new words? Concoction, laboratory, smog, and tantrum. Now, let's see how much you remember about gloom over Rainbow Land with this remembering game. Here's a question. Why did Murky Dismal send Lurky to Rainbow Land? Can you think of the answer? Watch the screen now for 3 possible answers. 1. To bring a letter to Rainbow Brite. 2. To go on a picnic. Or 3. To see what everyone was doing. Can you remember the correct answer? Why did Murky Dismal send Lurky to Rainbow Land? The answer is 3. To see what everyone was doing. Here's your next question in the remembering game. When Lurky rolled down the hill, where did he land? Was it 1. In the water of Prism Pond? Was it 2. In the potato salad at a picnic? Or was it 3. At the door of the Color Castle? When Lurky rolled down the hill, where did he land? The answer is 2. In the potato salad at the picnic. Try this question. Why was everyone glad to have Lurky in Rainbow Land? Was it because 1. He made himself friendly and useful? Or was it 2. He told everyone jokes? Or was it 3. He told Rainbow Brite all of Murky Dismal's secrets? The answer is 1. Everyone was glad to have Lurky in Rainbow Land because he made himself friendly and useful. Here's the next question. What did the gloom cloud do over Rainbow Land? Did the gloom cloud, 1, bring rain? Did it, 2, make Lurky unhappy? Or 3, did the gloom cloud have a fight with the sun? Did you say the answer is 2? Yes, the gloom cloud made Lurky unhappy. Here's another question. Why did Lurky decide to go back to the pits? Was it 1, he was afraid of Murky Dismal? Was it 2, because he wanted the sun to return to Rainbow Land? Or was it 3, because Rainbow Brite told him to? If you said the answer was 2, you were correct. Lurky decided to go back to the pits because he wanted the sun to return to Rainbow Land. Here's your last question. Think hard about this one. This story teaches us 1. How the weather changes in Rainbow Land. 2. How to be a good friend. 3. How to make gloom clouds. The answer is 2. The story teaches us how to be a good friend. Now that you did so well on that story, we'll go on to your next Rainbow Brite story, Twink's Surprise. First, let's look at some new words that will help you read and understand the story. Here's the first word, bumbling. Bumbling means clumsy. Someone who is bumbling is always falling over his own feet and making stupid mistakes. Here's your next word, coax. To coax means to urge or persuade someone to do something. Does your mom have to coax you to do your homework? Try this word, dome. A dome is a round roof on a building. The Capitol building in Washington, D.C. has a dome. Here's a hard word. Look at it carefully. The word is imposter. An imposter is a person who pretends to be someone else in order to fool people. Your last new word is telescope. Have you ever seen a telescope? It's a long, tube-shaped instrument to make faraway things look closer. People look at stars through telescopes. Now that you know all these new words, you're ready for the next story. Remember, you can read along with the words at the bottom of the screen. So, get ready now for Twink's Surprise. Twink was looking pale and sad. True, he was white to begin with. He had been white ever since he lost his color when Murky Dismal threw him into the pits. But to Rainbow Brite, Twink appeared even paler than usual. In fact, Twink just seemed to be fading away. Rainbow Brite was worried about her favorite sprite.
Twink is not his usual bouncy self.
She confided to her magical horse Starlight. Then, pointing to the dome where Twink lived, on the top of the color castle, Rainbow Brite added,
Twink just sits up there and sighs a lot. Poor Twink seems to be pining away.
What can we do about it?
Starlight asked Rainbow.
I don't know. Not yet,
said Rainbow Brite with a sigh. Starlight considered himself Rainbow Brite's best friend. He loved her very much and couldn't bear to see her so unhappy. Starlight wanted to help Rainbow Brite find out what was troubling Twink so they could figure out a way to fix it.
Are you absolutely sure Twink won't come out?
Starlight asked Rainbow.
I'm positive.
She answered sadly.
I tried to coax him out with sunshine sherbet and rainbow cookies. Even that didn't work.
Starlight tossed his silky mane and said to Rainbow Brite,
This is more serious than I thought. You wait here. I'm going to call the Color Kids.
The Color Kids came immediately and gathered together in Rainbow Brite's rec room. They were unhappy about Twink, too.
I can't believe we're all here without Twink,
said Lala Orange.
He always wanted to be right in the middle of everything.
There is definitely something wrong. Twink's behavior is not up to par,
decided Shy Violet.
Do any of you have any suggestions?
Buddy Blue came up with the first idea.
Let's get him into an exercise program. That should snap him out of whatever he's in. Exercise?
Snapped Indigo angrily.
How insensitive. All you think about are muscles. Can't you see that Twink is depressed?
Depressed?
Repeated Canary Yellow, who was always sunny and cheerful.
How can anyone be depressed here in Rainbow Land? That's it,
exclaimed Red Butler.
What's it?
Asked the Color Kids.
Rainbow Land,
answered Red Butler. Rainbow Brite was just as puzzled.
You're talking in riddles, Red Butler. Not really, Rainbow. Think about it. I've got a job here in Rainbow Land. You've got a job. All the Color Kids and Sprites have jobs. We're either managing the mines or making star sprinkles or so many other things. But Twink has no job to do.
You may just be right.
Piped up Patty O'Green.
That could be what's bugging Twink.
So what do we do about it?
Asked Rainbow Brite. The color kids were full of suggestions. They all chattered at once.
Let's cheer Twink up by having a special party for him. Yay! A rainbow party! That's good! A rainbow surprise party! That's even better! You color kids are great!
Said Rainbow Brite as she hugged them close to her.
What would I do without you?
From his lookout at the pits, Murky Dismal pointed his telescope and spotted strange things happening in Rainbow Land.
That Rainbow Brite and her color pals are up to something again.
Murky said to his bumbling assistant Lurky.
I feel it in my bones.
Yeah, boss.
Mumbled Lurky as he got in the way, trying to peek through the telescope too.
Yeah, boss. Yeah, boss.
Mimicked Murky Dismal, shoving Lurky away from the telescope.
Is that all you've got to say?
Yeah, boss. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Stammered Lurky.
Get down there.
Ordered Murky Dismal.
Find out what they're up to.
That clumsy lump of a Lurky lurched down the hill from the pits to Rainbow Land. Now, as he huddled in the shadows, which was quite difficult considering how big he was, Lurky settled down to do some serious snooping. He saw the color kids bustling back and forth with plates and cups and colored balloons. All the sprites were busy with strips of colored cloth and spools of thread, with rolls of ribbon and balls of yarn. Even Baby Brite and Puppy Brite were scampering around trying to be helpful. Lurky strained to hear what they were saying. He held a hand to his ear, but all he could catch were snatches of conversation.
And a great surprise! The party tomorrow! Oh, so much fun! I can't wait to see!
Boy, oh boy, oh boy!
Cried Lurky eagerly as he started back up the hill toward the pits.
Wait till the boss hears about this.
Then, as Lurky picked up speed, he ran out from under the little gray gloom cloud over his head. The farther he got from the cloud, the happier Lurky began to feel. By the time he got back to the pits, Lurky was grinning from ear to ear and practically bubbling with excitement.
Boss! Boss!
He cried as he approached Murky Dismal.
Have I got news for you?
The news can wait.
Grumbled Murky Dismal impatiently.
Look at you, you're so happy, it's disgusting. Before you say another word, I gotta get your gloom cloud back in place over your head and shear you down to normal.
As soon as the little gray gloom cloud was back in place, Lurky became his usual unhappy self.
That's much better.
Said Murky Dismal.
A person can stand just so much happiness without getting sick. Now, what's this terrific news you were blubbering about?
It doesn't seem so terrific anymore.
Pouted Lurky. But Murky Dismal snarled.
Out with it.
Lurky sighed and explained sheepishly.
They're having some kind of party tomorrow in Rainbow Land. I heard something about cookies and ice cream and,
Okay.
Snapped Murky Dismal, not wanting to hear happy thoughts.
I get the idea. Let's get down to the laboratory. I gotta think.
Inside the laboratory, Murky Dismal started to pace back and forth, which wasn't easy to do with Lurky hovering over him and getting in the way as usual. Suddenly, Murky stopped and mumbled,
This might be the chance I've been waiting for.
what do you mean, boss?
asked Lurky. Murky Dismal explained.
With all the excitement going on, it might be a good time for us to make some mischief down there in Rainbow Land. Yes, Lurky, we're gonna crash that party. Yeah, we're gonna show up there even though they didn't invite us.
How are we going to do that, boss?
We're gonna dress up like those silly sprites. There are so many of them around that nobody will notice a couple more.
The next day, everyone in Rainbow Land met in Rainbow Brite's rec room to get it ready for the party. The sprites hung colored streamers and balloons on the walls and ceiling. The color kids brought out all the food they had prepared and set it on the table. Lala Orange brought orange sherbet. Canary Yellow had baked lemon cookies. Shy Violet and Indigo stirred a big bowl of grape juice punch. Red Butler and Buddy Blue carried in a big basket of strawberries and blueberries. Patio Green counted out enough lime lollipops for everyone in Rainbow Land. As Rainbow Brite went around helping her friends, she exclaimed,
Everything looks so yummy. All we need to make the party perfect is Twink.
The sprites wanted to make the party perfect, so they marched right up to the dome at the top of the color castle and put Twink on their shoulders. Although Twink argued and protested that he didn't want to go to a party, the sprites carried him down the stairs to Rainbow Brite's rec room. Then the party really began. Rainbow Brite hugged Twink. The colored kids sang and danced, and the sprites, who were always happy and playful, frolicked about and made everyone laugh. In all the excitement, nobody noticed Murky, Dismal, and Lurky sneak into the room. Suddenly, it seemed to get very crowded in Rainbow Brite's rec room. Just as suddenly, the food started to disappear at an alarming rate. Rainbow Brite looked around.
Something funny is going on,
She said as she started to count heads.
There seems to be too many sprites.
Could some of them be imposters?
Asked Shy Violet.
I don't know. It's never happened before.
Said Rainbow Brite.
But there's one sure way to find out.
Rainbow Brite held onto her magic power belt with one hand and scattered a bunch of star sprinkles with the other. All the sprites stopped what they were doing and tried to catch the star sprinkles. That is, all the sprites except two. At that moment, the two party crashers were recognized and they started to run from the room.
There they are!
Shouted Red Butler.
There are the party crashers!
Catch them, catch them!
Cried Buddy Blue as he began to chase after them.
It's Murky, Dismal, and Lurky!
Cried Lala Orange. Watching all this, Twink began to laugh. He was starting to feel more like his old self.
Look at them go! They sure do look funny! Lurky is much too big and clumsy to be a real sprite. And as for Murky Dismal, well, he is much too grumpy.
I should have known it was them.
Said Rainbow Brite.
But Lurky's little gray gloom cloud was hidden by all the colored balloons.
Oh, my.
Exclaimed Indigo dramatically.
All this excitement is getting to me. I'm going to faint.
Put yourself on hold.
Snapped Patio Green, putting her arm around Twink.
This is still Twink's party, and we haven't even given him his present yet.
The sprites handed Twink a long, colorful ribbon with a beautiful white bow at the end.
For me?
Asked Twink, puzzled.
Yes, Twink. If you follow this ribbon out the door and across Rainbow Land, it will lead you to a special surprise.
So Twink followed the ribbon until it led him to a color cave.
I don't recognize this cave.
Twink told Rainbow Brite.
That's all right, Twink. This is a new color cave. Your very own white cave to manage. We understand now why you were sad, and you had good reason. The other sprites all have their own special colors and their own special responsibilities. And just because you are white, you have no responsibilities at all. And that's not right. After all, you're the only white sprite in all Rainbow Land.
Hey, that's right. And that means I'm special.
Yes, Twink, you are special. Now, for the first time, we'll have a sprite in charge of all the white things in the universe. You, Twink, are now the sprite in charge of making sure that snow isn't red, that clouds aren't green, and that ice cream isn't purple.
Oh, I do feel better. In fact, I feel great.
Shouted Twink.
Thank you all, my friends. Thank you for making me feel so special. I feel like the most colorful sprite of all.
Well, Twink's surprise was certainly a wonderful story. And were you able to read these 5 new words? Bumbling, coax, dome, imposter, and telescope? Now, let's see how much you remember about the story. Are you ready for some questions? Okay, here we go. How did Twink lose his color? Is the answer 1, Rainbow Brite made him white with her magic power belt? Is the answer 2, Murky Dismal threw him into the pits? Or is the answer 3, star sprinkles fell on him? Did you remember that the answer was 2? Twink lost his color when Murky Dismal threw him into the pits. Here's the next question. What kind of party did the color kids plan for Twink? Was it 1, a rainbow surprise party? Was it 2, a birthday party? Or was it 3, a Halloween party? The answer is 1. The color kids planned a rainbow surprise party for Twink. Here's your next question. How did Murky Dismal keep Lurky from being happy and cheerful? 1. Murky sent Lurky down to Rainbow Land. 2. Murky kept a gray gloom cloud over Lurky's head. 3. Murky yelled at Lurky all the time. The answer is 2. Murky Dismal kept Lurky from being happy and cheerful by keeping a gray gloom cloud over his head. Next, when Murky decided to crash the color kids' party, that meant he was going to 1. Smash the dishes at the party. 2. Go to the party without being invited. Or 3. Fall down when he got to the party. To crash a party means to go to a party without being invited. So the answer is 2. Try this one. When Rainbow scattered her star sprinkles at the party, what did the sprites do? 1. They went on eating. 2. They tried to catch them. 3. They left the party. The answer is 2. When Rainbow Brite scattered her star sprinkles, the sprites tried to catch them. Here's the last question. What finally made Twink happy again? Was it 1, when Rainbow Brite gave him a color? Was it 2, that he had his own special cave and his own special jobs? Or was it 3, when the sprites made him their leader? The correct answer is 2. Twink was finally happy again when he had his own special cave and his own special jobs. Well, that's about it for your Rainbow Brite stories today. Be sure to look for other Rainbow Brite read-along videos from Kid Stuff at your favorite store. Bye now.